August 29th, 2005. A morning that changed everything for the Gulf Coast. A monster named Hurricane Katrina made landfall, ravaging New Orleans and leaving a trail of destruction unlike any seen in modern U.S. history. Today, we're unpacking the full story. The storm, the levee failures, the human suffering, and how the city rose or struggled to pick up the pieces. Hurricane Katrina began as a tropical depression over the Bahamas on August 23, 2005. By August 28th, it had intensified into a Category 5 with 175 miles per hour winds, before weakening to Category 3 upon landfall in Louisiana. The storm's broad reach, 400 miles wide, set the stage for catastrophic impact. Built below sea level, New Orleans relied on a system of levees and floodwalls. When Katrina hit, these defenses failed, resulting in up to 23 breaches. Within hours, 80% of the city was underwater. Some areas submerged 15 feet deep. Death estimates range from approximately 1,390 to 1,833 fatalities. Katrina ranks among the deadliest U.S. hurricanes. The storm displaced over 1 million people and destroyed 70% of housing units in New Orleans, 134,000 homes alone. The winds howled like a freight train, ripping roofs from homes and sending shards of glass screaming through the air. Whole neighborhoods vanished beneath the churning surge as the Gulf poured in, swallowing streets, cars, and lives in a single unrelenting motion. Boats meant for fishing now skated across avenues, smashing into telephone poles. In the lower Ninth Ward, the sound of splitting wood and twisting metal was deafening. Houses broke from their foundations and floated away like paper in a gutter. Power grids collapsed one by one, plunging the city into darkness, even as morning light fought to pierce the storm clouds. Communication lines snapped. 911 calls went unanswered, not because operators didn't care, but because emergency centers were flooding, their staff trapped alongside the people they were meant to save. Helicopters battled the fierce winds, hovering only long enough to pluck the most desperate from rooftops before being forced to retreat. Inside homes and attics, families hammered at ceilings to escape rising water. Some clung to rafters for hours, their skin pruned and lips blue from the cold. Others waved shirts and blankets from second-story windows as currents dragged debris and sometimes people past their view. Across the city, dogs barked endlessly, their cries mixing with the distant hum of Coast Guard rescue boats. At the Superdome, the sheer force of the wind tore open sections of the roof, letting rain pour in on the tens of thousands huddled below. The air was thick, humid, unventilated, and heavy with fear. Outside, the storm surge pressed inland, turning highways into rivers and trapping convoys of evacuees. By midday, the boundaries between lake, river, and city blurred entirely. New Orleans had become a single vast body of water, with only pockets of high ground offering temporary refuge. Katrina was no longer just a storm. It was an all-consuming siege, and every passing minute pulled the Gulf Coast deeper into a disaster it could not yet comprehend. Hospitals like charity hospitals suffered catastrophic failures. Patients were evacuated via helicopters amid horrific conditions such as sniper fire and deteriorating sanitation. Wikipedia. At Memorial Medical Center, dire choices led to legal investigations over patient deaths. Tens of thousands took shelter inside the Superdome under inhumane conditions. FEMA's response drew heavy criticism. Slow mobilization, poor coordination, and delayed aid worsened the catastrophe. By October 4th, the official death toll ballooned to over 1,800, while hundreds remained missing. Investigations blame the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for inadequate design and construction. Experts term the levee collapses the worst engineering catastrophe in U.S. history. The failures exposed severe systemic oversights and underfunding, factors that magnified the human cost. The region undertook a massive rebuilding effort, including the Hurricane and Storm Damage Risk Reduction System, HSDR-RS, a $14 billion enhanced levee and floodwall network. Yet, subsidence and rising sea levels have already begun to undermine this system. Axios. Today, New Orleans has seen economic diversification and resilience in many areas. But marginalized neighborhoods, like the lower 9th Ward, still bear Katrina's scars, with empty lots and slow redevelopment. Cities are now bolstering preparedness. Living shorelines, solar microgrids, permeable pavements, and mass tree planting are among the forward-thinking initiatives. As Katrina's 20th anniversary approaches, voices of survivors and researchers remind us of deep-seated issues linked to inequality and governance. Their stories seek to guide better disaster planning in the future. Hurricane Katrina was far more than a storm. It was a test of infrastructure, leadership, equity, and human spirit. While New Orleans has rebuilt much, the lessons endure. Climate change will test our cities, and how we prepare and respond matters. If this story moved you, consider supporting resilience and disaster preparedness causes. Subscribe for more in-depth documentaries on humanity's greatest trials, so we remember and learn.